After you've recorded one or more macros that recreate desired pivot table positions, you can add elements to your workbook that let you run those macros quickly and in the desired order. In this movie, I will show you how to create a very simple presentation kit so that you can use your pivot tables as a storytelling device. My sample file is present 0803, and you can find it in the Chapter 8 folder of the Exercise Files collection. On sheet 1 of this workbook, I have a pivot table that shows quantity of sales for all categories and all products. At the top, you can see that I have 3 shapes to which I have assigned macros. The first is Start, and you can tell it has a macro assigned to it because when I move the mouse pointer over it, it changes into a pointing hand. Then Wind Harvester, and finally Solar Panels. Because the Solar Panels button is partially obscured, I will close the Pivot Table Fields task pane. Elsewhere in this course, I showed you how to assign macros to shapes, and that's what I've done here. So the scenario that I have in mind is that I am about to start a presentation, and I want to move to my starting position and then to talk about wind harvesters and solar panels specifically. So just before I start speaking, I would click the Start shape, and that moves the pivot table into the position that I want to start with. At this point, I might say something like, as you can see, grid tie inverters provide most of our revenue, with batteries also offering more than $1,200,000 in revenue for the last 2 years. Solar panels and wind harvesters are pretty consistent. They're at about $300,000, and light bulbs and landscape lighting we more or less keep as courtesy items for our customers who buy them in store. However, green energy generation is very important, and if I look at wind harvesters in particular, you can see that we have one, the KEBL 1200, that sells extremely well, and the KEBR5, which we're getting rid of because of its low capacity, didn't sell that much over the past couple of years. You can also see how solar panels perform. We have quite a few different levels of product there, and if I scroll down, you can see that some of them sell close to $50,000. Others, especially the lower power generation units, don't sell much at all, but they do account for about $300,000 in total revenue. All told, we've found that wind harvesters and solar panels are great mid-level items and that our customers appreciate having them available. So that's a quick example of what a presentation could look like with a pivot table. Using macros to recreate pivot table positions allows you to speak and remain in the flow. As you can see, using macros to recall positions in a pivot table lets you stay in storytelling mode. If, however, you were to make changes to a pivot table, so for example, I'll go to the Analyze tab and bring back the field list. So let's say that someone asked about quantity of sales as opposed to the total price. You can make a change by dragging sum of total price from the values area and bring quantity down, so you'd see that number. You could expand by product name if you wanted to, basically to show the entire pivot table. So I'll drag product name below category in the rows area, and then close pivot table fields. And you can see that the buttons got pushed over to the side because column A got much larger. But then if you want to return to the start, you can just click the Start button, and you're back at your original position.